and welcome to the Bucket List Show. I'm Tammy Crandall with Journ Adventure Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Rebecca Denise from Barron Real Estate, as well as Superior Storage.
We are so glad you're able to join us today. The Bucket List Show is here to serve you so we can help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And what that means for each and every one of you, as well as us, can be very different. Whether we're trying something different for the first time, like paddleboarding or jet skiing, maybe you've never fished and you want to do that type of thing, whether it's freshwater fishing or going out on one of these great big boats out on the ocean and doing some saltwater fishing.
Maybe it's a 3K race.
Oh, yeah.
Or you want to travel, do your first road trip. So the bucket list is meant.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to take a road trip, and the theme of your road trip is you want to stop by all these different areas that maybe movies were filmed in.
Yeah,
You'd be
parks.
Surprised how many different places you can go to here in the southeast of the United States, even in Georgia, Alabama.
At all the river or something.
Yes, exactly. So
many options on the bucket list.
So and again, I know we've mentioned in the past on other shows. It could be that you're wanting to buy a house for the first time, wanting to rent for the first time.
Travel.
We're wanting to travel for the first time. Maybe you've traveled your whole life, but you always traveled with kids, and now you're free.
Thank God.
So now you can travel without the kids. So
big
that
girl
could be the
trips,
thing.
right? And big boy trips.
But what we're going to do today is we've got kind of a fun topic, a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is regarding vacations, and that is for multi-generational travel.
Yes.
Many people travel with family. It's a form of just getting together. They have reunions. Maybe they're getting together from across the country. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have family scattered all over the place. So sometimes having this multi-generational travel option is a good thing.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially everyone has such a busy life. And that's kind of where the bucket list went, so you think of yourself personally. But to pull everyone together for a big family vacation, that's what we did, probably for 30 years in Connecticut. And we've done it here once so far with the cruise. So I do think people are looking at that way as a form to get together.
Right. And sometimes it's not, when we talk multi-generational travel, it doesn't mean it has to be 100 people.
Yeah.
Multi-generational travel could pretty much be... you've got great-grandkids, grandkids, mom and dad, grandma, great-grandma, and our
2 dogs and a cat. No.
That's right, exactly. And you can travel with them too. But of course, when you travel and you're doing multi-generational travel, it has its challenges, as most of the time, everyone wants something a little different than the other person that you're traveling with. So today, we're going to talk predominantly about multi-generational cruises. And that's because there's so much that can be satisfied for every one of those differences that they have on board. So what's a multi-generational cruise, and why should we do this, do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, I'm going to tell you.
I was being sarcastic, so yeah, you tell us.
Multi-generational cruise, just basically, as I mentioned before, you're traveling with grandkids, great-grandkids. You're traveling with their fathers and mothers, and and I don't know about the rest of you, but I also, when I think of multi-generational, sometimes we've got good friends that we're traveling with, and they may be differing in age and that sort of thing. So there are several brands out there that we're going to talk about today, and these are just very high overviews of each of those brands, and what the advantages are to using each one of those when you're considering multi-generational travel for your family. So we're just going to break right down into it. And one of the first brands that I think of is Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has done a fantastic job of just putting out a variety of different activities and things that you can participate in on a ship. It's really more about the experience that you have on Royal Caribbean ships, and a lot of times they're designed, it's not that they don't go to destinations, because they do, but the focus on a lot of their ships really is on what can you do while you're on that ship. So A prime example of that was they most recently, and it's been sailing for almost a year now, is Icon of the Seas. We have a new ship, her sister ship, that comes out, the Star, and that's next summer. And she has, they're built in such a way, they have it organized in what we call neighborhoods. So,
Well,
for
that's a great
example,
idea.
yeah, so they basically have Central Park and Boardwalk, like all these different areas. And Central Park is everything that you think it is.
Wow.
It has live plants. They actually have someone who takes care of these plants on board. So it's like a whole living, breathing area there. Boardwalk is like stepping out on the boardwalk in New Jersey or New York, you know, with your merry-go-rounds and arcade examples, places and eateries to go to. They just most recently on the Icon, what makes it stand out and is so different is they added an additional neighborhood. And that neighborhood is called Surfside. So it's one of the first ships that they have literally designed with families in mind.
Wow, that's fabulous.
You know, so typically, for those of you out there who have cruised, usually there's a restriction. You can only keep a maximum of 4 people in a room, in a stateroom. So they came up with rooms in the Surfside area that literally cater to families of 5.
Well, that's perfect.
So if you've got mom and dad and 3 kids,
well, that would work.
a lot of these rooms are interconnected. So if you're traveling with another member of your family and you want your kids to intermingle, it's a great way to be able to do that and have connecting staterooms.
It reminds me of that commercial that they did something online and the parents are right here and the kids are like, close the door, lock the door. And they're like, that's why you use a travel agent.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, so, and those ships, I know they are large, but at the same time, that can really be to your advantage. When you step on these ships, one of the greatest challenges that I tell people is when you step onto an Oasis class ship or a Star class ship, when you step out like that, I always challenge you when you get on board, I dare you to not open your mouth when you first step onto one of these ships for the first time. I mean, literally, you can't help it because you step inside and it's just humongous inside. The promenade is amazing. They've got a full-out antique car in the middle of the space that you can pose with. They have a floating bar that's there, and it travels in between several floors.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so it's just a fun thing. But they have varieties of kids clubs on board that they can participate in, and they are segmented into ages. I know sometimes the concern that people have is, well, I don't know how I feel about my kids being away from me like that. But the great thing is when they hire people for these kids areas, they're not just somebody that said, hey, we need somebody to work in the kids area. These people have, you know, their education degrees. Like, these are the types of people they hire for these spaces.
Done.
They do.
You know,
they
full
do.
security check.
Right. And then sometimes the misnomer is, okay, so I'm taking my kids on this cruise. We're on this kid-friendly cruise. I'm going to be bored to death as an adult. There's got to be something for me to do. Well, the great thing is there's plenty to do on many of these ships we're going to mention today. Royal's one of them. There's a variety of bars, places you can dance. There are many shows that you can go to. One of the things that makes Royal Caribbean stand out amongst some of the others is they literally do Broadway shows on each of their ships. So you are getting that.
Right. So even besides if you're going to stop somewhere, now it sounds like, at least for this ship, I mean, it's the resort. Everything is there.
Everything's right there.
You're going to get to go to walk through Central Park, and then you're going to go to Surfside with your kids. And
I mean, if you didn't stop to step out on your balcony and see the ocean, you might forget that you were on the ocean.
Yeah, I know. It sounds like it has,
so,
especially the idea with families. And then we pull into the generational, because even if it's mom, dad, one kid, and grandparents in the same room, now everyone's contained, they're safe, but everyone gets to do what they want to do.
Well, and then there are simple fun things for some of the younger kids to do too, like cupcake decorating.
Yeah, the water slide you see sometimes.
Oh, and the slides are amazing on most of these ships. Just absolutely crazy, and I've done them. So yeah, and the funny thing was I didn't do those slides until like the last few years. I've been on ships for years. Yeah. But didn't start
the
using
ships
the slides.
I mean, even that one ship that you and I did a tour, I mean, these things are just spectacular.
Oh, they are.
They're beautiful.
They are. Well, and that's not where the spoiling stops. I'm going to talk about a couple other brands as well. One of which is Carnival. Carnival Cruise Line is another great cruise line for families. It's kind of the ship that never sleeps is the best way to describe it. If I were to compare the brands, Royal at some point goes to sleep. And I'm not saying that people don't go to sleep on Carnival, but they still do those midnight buffets with flowing chocolate fountains and all of that fun stuff. Tons of slides and all these new, like, different roller coaster style things that you can do. A lot of ships, such as Norwegian ships. Norwegian ships have do this great thing for outdoor. I forget what it's called, where you're, oh, good grief, this is where my mind goes blank. Hello, everybody, my mind has gone blank. But no, this is where, like the ropes course. Have you been to a ropes course? Ropes courses where you can, climb across the different things.
And they had that on the cruise I did too.
All of those are on some of these cruises now.
And it makes sense because some people want the adventure. They want the water slides all day, and they want to do the jungle climbing. Well, and they still have gyms on every one of these ships too. Well,
that's right. So and then Norwegian, and then with Norwegian, they actually many of their larger ships now, they have like raceways at the top of them. So you're like in go-karts racing around the top of a ship. It's kind of insane,
but it's fun.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun, and every line has something different. MSC Cruise Line is another viable option for families. Beyond the shows and the activities for kids, they've actually partnered with Kiko and
that's nice.
And Lego.
Perfect.
So they've got like benches that are set up that look like they were built out of Legos and things. I mean, it really is kind of a cool thing that they've got set up in their classes. So they all have their different focuses for their children and families alike. So slides are always a big thing on those. I get a lot of questions from Multi-Generational. They want to make sure that even though they're going for this cruise for them.
Right, there's something for grandma and the kids.
That's right. Well, because grandma, she might want to learn how to make those towel animals, so the ships will offer those types of courses.
Or just sit in the corner with a glass of wine like me.
Or she's like, okay, when does the bingo start? Because there's bingo too.
But, even with all this excitement, there's always a corner you could find.
Oh,
just to
absolutely.
People watch the water, read, do whatever you want.
Agreed.
Because that was the one thing that I liked. I could, jump on the water slides if I wanted. At night they had a white party, so the families were all dressed in white, different themes. But I was also able just to find my little corner and just sit and just people watch, which that's fun too.
And let me ask you this: how much did you have to pay for dinner?
Nothing.
Nothing. Ooh, nothing.
I'll tell you.
And were you allowed to choose more than one entree?
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
And,
all of these lines do that sort of thing.
One of the things that I loved about the cruises is the service is unparalleled. Compared really to anywhere as I've been, even Disney, California, but they're there to serve you, and it was wonderful. The dinners were fabulous, the restaurants were great. We could dress up, dress down, the buffets, but the idea that it never stopped.
Right.
But the service, I think, is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
That's why I like the cruises,
well,
and I don't have to worry about dinner. I don't have to worry about anything.
That's right.
And we're all good.
Well, and it's all about, making sure you communicate. Some people don't realize if they're cruising for the first time, you have a room steward that's assigned to take care of your room.
That was me.
So about being taken care of. Some people don't realize that they'll do turn down for you every day. So when you come back to your room, it's been nice and cleaned up. All the beds are made. They've got your stuff pulled down. Sometimes they might put a little sweetie or a decorated towel. If you and I would challenge you to do this. If you just leave a pair of sunglasses in your room or a pair of glasses, maybe you've got peepers that are extras, you'll come back almost guaranteed you've got an animal that's wearing your glasses. It's just something fun and entertaining. But you can ask for certain things.
Yeah, when I went, I didn't realize I had a steward. I should have listened to Tammy more. But I didn't realize how to pull down the second bed. So the second day we seen our steward's like, is everything good? I'm like, it's good, but I don't know where the other bed is.
Oh, got you.
In the ceiling.
Oh,
so we were good. But just again, fabulous service. So it was fun.
Yeah.
Cruises are fun.
And that's the thing, when you get to know your steward, if you, some people, they're just like, well, I just want to go to the buffet, and which is great.
That's
But
very
if
good
you
too.
want a kind of unique dining experience when you get on a ship like this with your family, you go to the same area, sit at the same table every day.
Yeah.
You get to know the person who's waiting on you every day, taking care of you. So that's part of it, is part of that experience. We are on the run all the time. I can't speak for most, but not a lot of
Everybody
families
is.
sit down and eat dinner together
Yeah,
at the
and-
table anymore.
That's
So
the
what a
problem with
great
our
way
society.
to kind of reinforce and bring that back. Even though your kids have got all kinds of great stuff to participate in, most families that I work with have always said, okay, we're going to do a check-in. We're at least going to have dinner together every
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things that they do.
I thought that was nice, but I think, I think travel compared to land, there's so much more convenience.
Right. And then some of these ships have got some unique artwork on them, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that make the ships different and unique
Okay.
on each of these things. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back right after this. Journaventure Travel and Tours, where it's about your journey, not just the destination. Picture a world full of amazing places yet to be discovered. Where do you begin? Whether your bucket list includes cruising in the Caribbean, exploring vast nature in Alaska, or experiencing exotic worldwide places, we're here to help you fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. Your journey begins from the moment you let go and let us handle the details for you. So call us today, Journaventure Travel and Tours, 772-882-3165.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Rebecca Denise, again from Barron Real Estate and Superior Storage, with Tammy, my co-host from Barron, and also Journaventure Travel. So we are talking about travel. So why would someone cruise versus a theme park or a hotel?
For me, it's all about the inclusivity of the trip. So say you go to a theme park, you're paying for your hotel room, you're paying for your parking and transportation a lot of times, and then you're having to pay for food.
Yeah.
Right. And, I can't speak for anyone else. I mean, I like theme parks as much as the next person, but you really have to budget well for food when you go to a theme park. If you don't want to have to leave the theme park to get something more economical, you got to have that budgeted in.
Yeah.
Or do like what my husband and I did when our children were little. If you're in a theme park with your family, there were many times that we bought a couple of meals for our kids, and we would buy one meal and Jim and I would split the hamburger. Because we wanted our kids to have a good experience.
Right.
And
it's pricey, and then you think, if you compare dollar for dollar, I mean, obviously it's wonderful, but it is very expensive even to get in the park. So the idea that a cruise just offers so much more, plus the relaxation piece, but the idea is that you're also together.
well, I think
There's more.
Well, I agree with that, and I think for all the moms out there or grandmoms out there, the greatest advantage is I find that a cruise is a much more relaxing experience for mom and grandma, even if they had to help pack everybody when they got before they got on the cruise. Once they're on that cruise, they can kind of sit back and relax along with the rest of them. Why? Because there are activities that the kids and grandkids can participate in on board that are in safe areas. There are strict guidelines about how they check them in and check them out depending on their ages. So lots for them to participate in. But your meals in just about every dining room on board, as long as it's not specialty dining, is included.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned before, and we're not talking about hamburgers and fries all the time. They offer those things, close to the pools and tacos and dogs, and those are all real good too.
But they have beautiful Italian restaurants, steakhouses.
Yes, and even the main dining rooms that are not necessarily the steakhouses or the specialty dining that you pay a small upcharge for per person. But the standard dining rooms, most ships have at least 2 or 3 standard dining rooms. And in those dining rooms, you've got a variety of different things to choose from, and you're getting an appetizer, and you're getting a salad, and you're getting an entree and a dessert, and your after dinner coffee. And if you had to buy that on land per person, it would cost you a fortune for the quality of food that you are getting. And especially because you asked about the comparison to a theme park.
Yep.
The quality of the food, in my opinion, in theme parks today, unless you're finding a specialty restaurant, is just not very good.
Yeah, it's just fast food in most cases.
And it's not good fast food.
You know, it's even to get a bottled water is very expensive.
Yeah.
But on the cruise, if you wanted a cup of tea at 1 a.m, you could have that.
You could get that,
And then,
exactly.
there's also healthy choices with, eggs and protein and fruit. So you don't have to worry about that.
Well, and many ships, because you bring those things up, at many ships today, because so many people have sensitivities to gluten or wheat, maybe they have an allergy to shellfish and or a variety of these things. They've got celiac disease or diabetes. So all of these cruise ships accommodate you on some level. We just got to let them know as your consultant. When we work with these vendors on your behalf, we're helping you by providing that information to the line to make sure that if you have a special need from a dietary perspective, they're starting to accommodate people much more. It's not like you have this small little corner on the buffet to choose from every day when you're there.
Expanded now.
Yes.
So that's good. So tell us more about the Carnival ship. I know that's where we ended. So.
Well, and we were talking about Carnival, and what I'm going to bring up, the Carnival ship has all of those same things that we talked about. Lots of dance parties and, bars to go to, lots of music, just on the pool deck alone, we're talking red frog, and bluefish, and Guy Fieri's burger joint.
Yeah.
Just yummy food and yummy drinks to partake in on board. And with this short disclaimer, alcoholic drinks are not included. Those are things that you would have to purchase in a package for many of these ships that we're discussing today, unless they have run some form of promo that would provide you with the drinks included. But the reason I wanted to revisit Carnival is because Carnival has actually taken Freeport, and Freeport, they have built what's called Celebration Key.
Nice.
And Celebration Key is going to be opening sometime in, I think, mid to late July of 2025, which means if you are planning sailings for next summer, this is a great way for us to make sure that you get on a sailing that includes Celebration Key. I can't attest to this, but I'm sure that they probably did this out of the need to compete with Ocean, with the Coco Cay that Royal Caribbean runs.
But to have a new ship, excuse me. But if you are planning the cruise, like you said, now there's an opportunity for next summer beyond that.
Well, and Celebration Key is a destination. So it just happens to be one of the stops that they do in the Bahamas. And sometimes Freeport used to get a bad rap, or what we call Grand Bahama Island.
Right.
And that's because it was really more industrial. So if you parked a ship there, you had this beautiful view of industrial stuff. And then to get to anything, you had to drive 15, 20 minutes. And the other side of the island was beautiful, and you could go to different places that you could do excursions at or beach days.
We did that. That's fun.
So those were all there. But what's going to be great is now Carnival specifically has a stop, which is considered their private island in Grand Bahama Island called Celebration Key.
Perfect.
So they've got places like all just wonderful places for families to play and relax on the island, even places to shop. They've actually partnered with some of the shop owners in the Bahamas, and they brought them on part of the island.
Perfect.
So you don't necessarily have to go all the way into the island.
But you're getting the feel.
Yes, and at the same time, the island still benefits because the purchases that are being made are helping them as well.
And that whole area is beautiful and fun to see too.
Oh, it is. It is.
So to get the day off and there at that area with your family,
So
You know,
I'm
that's nice.
excited. So I'm excited about
Okay,
Celebration
we gotta go on that
K.
cruise
We need
now.
to go on the Celebration. Yeah, we
Okay.
were looking at that. You know, I know that, you know, just if you're interested in doing that, give me a call. 772-579-9536.
You know,
Because I can help you get on the right ship to be able to make
and,
those
you know,
stops.
and the idea is that, you know, I mean, I wouldn't recommend going through the internet if you're gonna book a travel trip for your family. It's too important not to have someone do it for you, because it's all these little things, diets, or, you know, what's the new ship, and those are things that Tammy is versed on, and that's what she does for travel. And you want it to be spectacular. So
Yeah.
you want the best travel agency that's gonna, you know, understand that and make it perfect for your family.
And we don't like to place everybody in a box.
Right.
I mean, that again, it's
no
not.
boxes,
Yeah. I mean, if cookie cutter is what you want, we can accommodate that.
Right.
I'm not belittling that at all, because some people just want to have something that's pre-done. But if you have something very specific about this trip that you want done, maybe it's somebody's birthday or an anniversary,
Right.
we can help make this a special time for them when you board. So
And it's a lot to pull together.
it is. And you know, Disney even is another brand I wanted to talk about briefly, because they accommodate families extremely well. Of course they do. They're Disney.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Sometimes when you're comparing pricing between a Disney cruise and say a Royal Caribbean or a Carnival, it's important to note that, you know, typically on most mass market ships other than Disney, you know, you have access to water, you have, it's non-bottled water, but you have access to water to drink, you have access to teas, coffee, you know, standard coffee,
Right.
and or juices that you get from the buffet line, you know,
Right.
typically every day.
Right.
So you have access to those things, and that's included as part of your cruise. Disney actually adds soda to theirs.
Okay.
So,
Sugar up those kids.
well, and that's, and the thing is, sometimes when people do their comparison pricing, they're like, well, Disney's a little more expensive. Well, you
You're
know,
not
if,
paying for any of those beverages.
that's right. If you're having to purchase a beverage package or a soda package
Right.
for
You know,
your
kids can
family
have, you
per
know, a couple
child,
apple juices a day, breakfast, and
That's-
they want
that's
the water,
right.
yeah.
That's right. So, but one of the things that is, I would say, is one of my favorite things that Disney does, and I know it sounds a little, for lack of a better way to say it, bougie, but you know, when you are on a Disney ship and you're getting ready to board, they literally present you. Literally present you.
Aw.
They stop you, and then before you go to walk down the area where you're boarding, they say,
Just clean the
presenting the Crandall family.
Aw.
And it's just a Disney-esque thing,
That would be
kind
a
of
great
thing to
thing.
do.
I'm gonna have to look for Disney
Oh.
for Addie when she turns 2. Maybe that's the idea.
Yeah, and they have,
Or 3.
and they do a lot of theme things on their ships, you know, so because they've partnered with, you know, like Star Wars and all these other,
Harry
Marvel,
Potter,
yes,
you know,
Marvel.
those
And
kids know it
so,
all.
so if you're wanting to do things around Halloween time or Christmas time, you know, they really theme up the ship. It's just amazing, beautiful, and the food, phenomenal.
And people
Absolutely.
do things like that, you know, a little mini vacation for Thanksgiving, or, you know, maybe it's Easter or spring
Yes.
break. And again, it's all done for you,
Right.
and you can't beat Disney.
Yeah, and I found that out of all the ships that I've worked with, they really have the highest percentage of connecting cabins
Okay.
for ocean view, balconies, interiors on
That's
any
perfect.
ships that I've seen. And that works really well when you have families who are trying to travel together.
Right.
So
Yeah, it makes it easier.
Yeah. So again, you pay one price. You got your food included. You know, you've got your basic drinks
And
included.
then the characters run the ship because it's Disney.
Yes, and that makes it fun. And
Breakfast with Minnie.
well, and something fun to say about Disney too is they really don't like to tell you no. They really don't.
Okay.
So you can ask them for crazy things sometimes, and you know. So I've had friends that would share that and say, you know, I was sitting on Castaway Key, which is one of their private islands, and we were sitting there, we're commenting on how glassy the water was, and somebody came to serve us a drink, and he said, is there anything more that we could do to make your experience better? She goes, you know, as a matter of fact, you know what would be really cool? You see how calm it is out there? The only thing missing from this picture as I'm enjoying my drink and relaxing here is, it would be cool if there was like a table and chairs in the water. Wouldn't that be cool? And instead of saying, no, we can't do that, they literally said, let me think. Maybe, you know, I might be able to get a table and some chairs off the ship that we could bring down for you to make that
See?
happen. Like they're all about making something happen for you. You just have to be willing to challenge them
gotta ask.
to do it. So that's something that I think stands out different than some of the other lines. You know, I have my favorite ships on every line. Cool art structures. The MSC Miravia and many of their ships, they've got these wonderful screens that show different shows that are over your head throughout the, you know, and it's just beautiful. If you want more of a toned down island to spend some time on, MSC is an ideal brand to do that with, because they have MSC's Ocean Key Marine Reserve Island, beautiful beach, beautiful beaches, and that's all it's designed to be, is a beach.
Right.
So they've got places you can eat there. You can, you know, rent some non-motorized water stuff if you want to be able to float out in the water. But they've got it set up in like little pods of lagoons in different spaces. Beautiful beach to walk down.
And, you know, and the internet doesn't
It's
tell
just-
you all these little things.
Well, and it's just calm. It's just a
I
calm,
wouldn't have even thought, so that's a nice
beachy,
beach
relaxing experience.
resort.
So I would
That would
encourage
be
anyone
perfect for
to do
me
that.
too. Bring a couple books. I'm
Now,
there.
see, she's making a list
I'm
over
making
here,
a
guys,
list, I
just to
know.
let you know. So
But, you know, the idea of the Disney thing, you know, years ago, the first time I took my daughter to Disney, we stayed at a local hotel, and it was a Disney-themed hotel.
Okay.
So the idea is that, you know, she could have dinner in her little area, and it was secure, and then, you know, we had our dinner. So the idea that the cruises are adopting this,
Oh,
so it
yes.
can be family,
Well, and a
is
lot of
just
them,
fantastic.
and a lot of them have instituted family dining. So, like, if you have your kids in a kids club,
Yep.
and that's not just Disney, with some of the other ships too. You have your kids in a kids club, and you have opted for family dining. When it hits to be a certain time, they know you're going to be in the dining room, and they will bring them down from the kids club to sit with you for dinner, and then pick them up when you're done.
Wonder if my kids are too old for the kids club.
I think mine are too.
Yeah, 27,
But-
32 won't
And
work.
of course, I never tire of talking about cruises. It really is a great value
Yeah,
way
it
to
is.
travel, because everything's included. You're not nickel and dime to death. And the great thing is, when you go on vacation, you've already got it paid for.
Right, and it's already budgeted, so you
Yes.
know that you're paying X. It's not as if you're gonna go somewheres on land and, you know, bottled water's $10.
That's
or,
right,
you know,
that's right.
So, yeah, there's pros and cons on both, but
And
this is
we
exciting.
love working with multi-generational families.
Yeah.
It's just something that's really at the heart of what we do. So if this is something that you want to do going forward, whether this is your 100th time of sailing or your first time sailing,
Yep.
please reach out to me. I'm Tammy Crandall with Journey Venture Travel and Tours, and my number is 772-579-9536. You can reach me there.
And again, I'm Rebecca Denise, Barron Real Estate and Superior Storage. My phone number is 203-482-7297. Be kind, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.